There are a lot of powerful Kaijus in Kaiju Universe, but there are 5 that stand out as the true Endgame Kaijus. So today, I'm going to be ranking all 5 Endgame Kaijus from worst to best. We'll be looking at their damage, abilities, survivability, mobility, fighting style, and how good they are in actual fights. And before anyone gets mad at the ranking, this is based on my personal opinion and experience. Some of these Kaijus are extremely close, especially once we get into the top 3. So let's start with number 5. Starting off the list at number 5, we have Stormlord Morkage. Now, I already know some people are probably going to disagree with this one. Stormlord Morkage is definitely not a bad Kaiju. In fact, it's still one of the strongest Kaijus in the game. It has some really powerful attacks, and when you know how to use its abilities, you can do some serious damage. One of the biggest things I like about Stormlord Morkage is its ability to put pressure on other players. You aren't just relying on basic attacks. You can use its abilities to keep your opponent on the defensive and create opportunities to deal a lot of damage. And when you're fighting another strong Kaiju, that can make a huge difference. But there is one problem. When I compare Stormlord Morkage to the other for Endgame Kaijus, I feel like it doesn't have quite the same overall consistency. There are situations where Stormlord Morkage can absolutely destroy someone, but there are also situations where the other Endgame Kaijus simply have better tools for dealing with different opponents. And when we're ranking Endgame Kaijus, consistency is really important. You don't just want a Kaiju that can be amazing in one situation. You want something that can perform well against a variety of opponents. Stormlord Morkage is still incredibly powerful, but that's why I'm putting it at number 5. And honestly, being number 5 on this list isn't even an insult. You're still talking about one of the strongest Kaijus in the game. It's just that the competition above it is absolutely insane. So, Stormlord Morkage takes the number 5 spot. Now let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have Thermo Incineros, and this is where the list starts getting really difficult. Thermo Incineros is an absolute powerhouse. If you want a Kaiju that can deal a ridiculous amount of damage, this is definitely one you should consider. Its attacks can hit extremely hard, and watching a full health opponent suddenly lose a huge chunk of their health is always satisfying. Another thing I like about Thermo Incineros is that it feels like a Kaiju that rewards you for knowing what you're doing. You can't just run into every fight and expect to win. You have to understand your attacks, know when to use your abilities, and recognize when your opponent is vulnerable. And once you get good with it, Thermo Incineros becomes seriously dangerous. It also has a really intimidating presence. When you see a Thermo Incineros coming towards you, you already know you're probably going to have a pretty difficult fight. But despite all of this power, I'm still putting Thermo Incineros at number 4. And the reason isn't because it's weak. It's because the next 3 are just that good. The difference between number 4 and number 3 is already pretty small. If you put a really skilled Thermo Incineros player against someone who doesn't know how to use their Kaiju, Thermo can obviously win. So don't take this ranking as saying Thermo Incineros is bad. It's absolutely not. It's just that when I'm comparing all 5 Endgame Kaijus together, I think there are 3 that have a better overall package. And that's what makes this ranking so difficult. Because honestly, almost every Kaiju on this list could destroy you if the player knows what they're doing. So that's why Thermo Incineros gets number 4. Now we are entering the top 3, and this is where things get very close. At number 3, we have Incineros. And honestly, this is where I started having a really hard time deciding the order. Incineros is an absolute monster. It has the damage, it has the abilities, it has the survivability, and it can be extremely dangerous in the hands of a good player. One of the biggest reasons I put Incineros this high is its overall combat potential. You can use it aggressively and put a ton of pressure on your opponent. But you also have to know when to slow down and play defensively. And that's important because endgame fights aren't always just about who can deal the most damage. Sometimes it's about who makes fewer mistakes. If you waste your abilities or attack at the wrong time, even an extremely powerful Kaiju can get destroyed. But when Incineros is being used correctly, it can feel almost unstoppable. And this is where I want to say something important. All of these top 3 can be number 1 if they're used correctly. Seriously. I don't think there's one Kaiju in this top 3 where I would say, there's no way this thing can beat the others. A skilled player can make any of them look completely broken. So don't look at this ranking as a massive difference in power. The difference between these 3 is actually pretty small. I'm mostly ranking them based on which one I personally prefer and which one I think has the best overall package. And Incineros definitely deserves its spot in the top 3. It's powerful, it's fun to use, and it can absolutely dominate fights. But there are still two Kaijus that I would personally choose over it, and that brings us to number 2. Coming in at number 2 is Morkage, and this thing is crazy OP even after the nerfs. Mortage is one of those Kaijus where you can immediately tell how dangerous it is once you start fighting someone who actually knows how to use it. The damage is incredible, the abilities are extremely useful. This is also another Kaiju where the player makes a huge difference. A bad Morkage player might make the Kaiju look average, but a really good Morkage player can make it look completely broken. And that's something I think is really important when ranking these Kaijus. Raw stats aren't everything. A Kaiju can have insane damage, but if its attacks are difficult to use or the player doesn't understand its abilities, you're not going to get the full potential out of it. Morkage is one of those Kaijus where mastering it can make a massive difference. And honestly, I could completely understand someone putting Morkage at number 1. I wouldn't even be mad about it, because like I said earlier, all of these top 3 can be first if they're used correctly. It really comes down to the player. But for my ranking, Morkage is number 2, which means there's only one Kaiju left. And if you've been following the list, you probably already know what it is. And finally, at number 1, we have Vargoth. Vargoth is my pick for the best endgame Kaiju in Kaiju Universe. And before I explain why, let me say this again, the top 3 are extremely close. Morkage can be number 1, Incineros can be number 1, and Vargoth can be number 1. All of these can be first if used correctly. But if I personally had to choose one, I'm picking Incineros. The biggest reason is its overall combination of power and versatility. Vargoth doesn't just have one thing going for it. It has multiple tools that allow it to perform in different situations. And that's exactly what I want from an endgame Kaiju. You don't want to be completely useless just because your opponent is using a certain playstyle. You want options, you want to be able to adapt. And Vargoth gives you that. When you're fighting another endgame Kaiju, you can't just rely on having more health or more damage. You need to know how to use your abilities, you need to know when to attack. You need to know when to back off, and most importantly, you need to know how your opponent is going to react. That's where Vargoth really shines for me. A skilled Vargoth player can make the Kaiju look absolutely ridiculous. And when you combine that with its already powerful kit, it becomes one of the most dangerous things you can run into. If you're an amazing Incineros player, Incineros could be your number 1. And if you're an amazing Vargoth player, well, you might just have one of the strongest setups in the game. And that's my ranking of all 5 endgame Kaijus in Kaiju Universe, but now I want to hear your opinion. Do you agree with my ranking, or would you put Morkage, Incineros, or Vargoth in a different spot? Let me know your ranking in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious what you guys think. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more Kaiju Universe content. I have a lot more videos planned, so you definitely don't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.